Kwe, Nin Teluizi James Brake, Elmastukwekis Mi'kmaw. Hello, my name is James Brake, and I'm Mi'kmaw settler from the Bay of Islands, Newfoundland, and of course I serve as Superintendent of Indigenous Education here at KPR. Welcome to the March edition of Giwe, As the Story Goes, the Indigenous Education Department newsletter. In this edition, we're excited to be sharing tools and resources to support the engagement and embedding of Indigenous education into our school environments in a good way. We're introducing a new Google site this month, which will allow for quick and easy access to the tools and resources, as well as archived newsletters and learning shared through the Passport to Reconciliation. As you may have seen with this month's Passport, we're focusing our learning on Indigenous language learning. The United Nations is recognizing the year 2022 as the start of the International Decade of Indigenous Languages to draw attention to the urgent need to preserve and reinvigorate Indigenous languages around the world. To honor this, I thought I would share a little of my journey as a language learner myself and some strategies I've learned to employ to learn Elnuizi, the Mi'kmaw language. I did not grow up with the language spoken in my home and amongst my family. My father and his siblings were taught that it was safer not to acknowledge their Mi'kmaw identity. Because of this, it's fallen on myself and my cousins to rediscover the language, and to learn it, and to teach it to others. Once I committed to this learning, I started with seeking resources to support my learning. I found books I could reference, and I connected with people with whom I could seek support when I needed it. And I needed a lot. My first step was to set about learning the consonant and vowel sounds, as well as all the unique blends, glides, and diphthongs particular to the Mi'kmaw language. Once I learned this, I could learn to pronounce common words and phrases and learn some songs and prayers. I learned to introduce myself. I learned common nouns and verbs and common statements of greeting. What I struggled with was the confidence to speak aloud, and in the presence of others in particular. I overcame this barrier when I sought advice from an elder. She asked me why I thought I would be judged for trying to regain my language as it was lost. She smiled and asked how many people in my audience would actually know enough to be critical of my efforts. It became a little easier after that. Indigenous language is tightly connected to culture and identity. It's a community and a way of life. It's connection to land, ancestors, and spirituality. When language is spoken, cultural knowledge is gained, and when it's not spoken, cultural knowledge can be lost. Because of this, I wanted to engage my kids and have them work together with me in this learning. It's so much easier speaking to someone, and we learn more as we support each other in this journey. We try to make our learning fun with games and challenges. Together, we're not afraid to make mistakes because we're learning something important and new. And if we do make mistakes, it's fun to tease each other and to try harder to do better. We focus on useful language and learn it as we need it. I found that simply memorizing words didn't really help in the long run, so we learn what's needed now in the moment to communicate what we're talking about. We focus on the everyday experiences, particularly on those nouns and verbs. We focus on names for each other, for father, mother, son, and daughter, nuj, and kitch, and quis, and tus. We think about the plants and animals, foods and items, and people we interact with every day. We've labeled things in our home, and we practice in the moment. We get together to listen to the spoken language. The opportunities to speak with Mi'kmaw language speakers at home is limited, so we listen to music and tutorials on YouTube. We've joined some language groups online with other people that are trying to learn. Personally and professionally, I find ways to insert the language into written communications as well, challenging myself to practice greater understanding and application of vocabulary and phrases to suit the messages as I go. I don't know that any of us will become fluent speakers. I do know that we'll do our part to keep the language alive to the best of our ability and where we can. What I'll share with you is the joy I feel when words come to me in Mi'kmaw just as quickly as they come to me in English, and I'm excited to be on this learning journey. Walaliak, Okideaduk. Thank you, my friends. I appreciate you taking the time to listen. Take care.